Maya, welcome to the SuperLife podcast.
Oh, very excited. Hello.
So stoked that you're here. I'm glad that Gabby Reese put us in touch.
He's not happy. Oh, sorry. Where do you want me to sit?
No, you're perfectly fine.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I'm adjusted for you as opposed to you having to adjust.
So when you get all excited,
Okay, I'll just stay stuck.
Okay, now we're good.
I'm like I express.
should I do that again? Okay. Maya, welcome to the show.
Hello.
SuperLife podcast. Perfect guest.
Oh, thank you. I'm very excited.
SuperLife, man.
I know.
Underneath it all, I want people to live the greatest life ever. And I think that fits with your mission.
Yeah. No, I am excited to chat about it. I think, come all the way from London to chat about it. So
Yeah, thank you.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
you took a shower in London and it's still wet. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But you survived Gabby Reese's pool and layered, and you had layered in your sights, and
Yes.
that's not easy.
Yeah, survived is a strong word, but I'll definitely go back again. It's,
Yeah,
slightly
good.
addictive. You're like, now I need to do better
Right.
next time.
Well, the toggle of doing an extreme pool workout is you just do enough to go, oh, that's hard, but you can easily overwhelm someone, and then they won't want to come back.
Yeah. I think though what is fascinating is whilst physically, yes, it's demanding, really, it is the mental game.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the mental game. And I think that's why I like it. And I think it's why it helps me practice what I preach. And even they were like, well, let's test how strong the mind is. But
Right.
you do realize that it's not so much about the weights underwater. It's about what are you doing with your breath?
Right.
What is your mind doing? Can it calm down when you feel like you're about to pass out?
Yeah.
That's where it's really interesting.
And you have a little more space than you realized.
Yeah.
And the weird zen about it all is the more calm you can be with an extreme thing and a new thing that you're doing, the more time you warp in that situation.
But I think that's life, because so even today, I'd done this pool workout and then I had a conversation with my parents. And for some reason, like they had said something and I reacted. It was like immediately, it was just, back to being like a 10-year-old girl. And then when I ended the phone, I actually rang them back again to be like, wait a second. That was just pure autopilot reaction. Let me now have that conversation again, but create space between what I'm saying and what I'm feeling and actually respond more intentionally.
Right.
And I think the things you can learn in the pool or wherever, you realize in all these little moments in our life, we have just that little bit more space to have the pause, have the intention, and then respond. So yeah, it was kind of like a rude awakening just today anyway.
Well, and it's, your kind of life's work, right? To uncover the unconsciousness, because the unconsciousness, if we don't step in, it's just running constantly. I mean, look around. How many people are actually present in their life, and we forget. And like, I actually had a situation with my mom this morning. She called me at 6 a.m. and I was like, "What's wrong?"
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, yeah, it was okay. I almost wanted to call her back, but it was okay conversation. It wasn't. But this is a deep, deep fascination of mine.
Okay.
And the awakening of life and awakening to one's life. For you, when you started this and performance and neuroscience and kind of uncovering, because there's a lot of visualization, manifestation, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot out there. It's a massively different thing to apply it. And then to apply it like you just did. Because even the space for you to see that there was a pilot running, this autopilot running, and then just enough of awareness to go, wait a second, let's kind of recapitulate that situation. Let's unpack it. So where did this kind of awakening, fascination and education and inspiration come to you? And that has fueled you to now and even to writing this book?
Yeah. So I guess if I take you back to maybe when I was like 15, I guess growing up, I've always been a high achiever. So I've understood what it means to grow and improve. And, you know, I played badminton for my county and country. So naturally you are in environments where it's about progression. It's about how to get better, stronger. But at the same time, I was someone who was, I guess, deeply insecure. I, you know, was scared about people's opinions, and you're just living life very much like based on what people tell you to do and quite blindly. And then when I was about 15, this was in like December, I just started I started having some pain in my stomach. So just, you know, constipation, bit of urgency, and I thought it was just a bit of a bug. So I went to the doctors. They gave me some like suppositories for inflammation. Right. And I was like, okay. They're like, it'll be fine. It'll sort itself out. Unfortunately, it didn't. And my symptoms were getting worse and worse, which then led to me getting diagnosed with something called ulcerative colitis, which is an inflammatory bowel disease, but it's incurable. And that was one of the first things I was told, like, I'm sorry, but it's a condition you will have all your life. But I was a very positive individual, and I was like, okay, sounds like people can live with it. And I did for a bit, and then I guess no one could have ever predicted or warned me what life was really going to be like. Because for the next 4.5, maybe 5 years of my life, I was fighting my body, fighting my mind, fighting every part of my soul every day. And I find it really difficult to like explain to people what it's like, because I think we can only compare it to what we've been through, right? Whether it's a stomachache, a period, whatever. But every day, you know, I would be, let's say, going to the toilet 30, 40 times a day, and you are screaming for your life because you are like bleeding. But then you can't even scream because it's like the pain just takes over your body. You feel like kind of animalistic and paralyzed. Then you're so weak that, you know, your brain starts to tell you the pain's going to come again. It's just this constant torture and agony. But the physical symptoms weren't even just it. It's everything that came with it. Because with colitis, unfortunately, everything is affected from you going to the toilet, you eating, you drinking, you socializing, you traveling.
Right.
And I think people can probably relate to the fact that, let's say you've got food poisoning or you've got a bad stomach. It is the worst thing, right? You just stay at home, don't speak to anyone. But now, like 100 times that every single day.
And it doesn't let up.
No, and it's just like, you know, I was wearing nappies and people never knew. I'd have to run because I'd be having accidents. I'd be like shivering in a car that was like a 3-minute journey because I'm so scared and I don't trust my body. Right. So this disease took everything from me, everything. Every little bit of light and joy I had in my life, it was gone. And of course, I had to give up on things like badminton, school, anything like that. And then it was in hospital where basically this nurse was like to me, well, Maya, if you weren't in hospital, where would you be? And I was like, what a rude question. I don't know why. I just found it so insensitive. And then I closed my eyes, and the first thing I wanted to do was walk again. That was it. And I just saw that. I literally in my mind saw step by step what it was like to walk again. So literally feeling in my body movement and sensation, and like I was watching myself like a movie, literally. And then the mind is a fascinating thing because I guess it pushed me to think, well, Maya, what if you could do this? What if you could walk again? What if you could go to university or college? What if you could run, play sport again? And I guess a very, very long story short is when I left hospital, I then dedicated everything to learning about why did my brain help me in that situation? Why did it give me hope? Why did I ask myself a different question? And that's what led to a passion for the brain. It led to me trying everything from meditation to, visualization, to retreats, to books, everything. But it always came back down to the fact that visualization can rewire the brain. And I was like, this is fascinating. So passion turned to obsession.
Yeah.
And now we're here being, I guess, probably the only individual at the age of 27 who has practiced this technique now for about 10 years and has gone into the depth and mastery of the 5 techniques. Like I haven't met anyone else who's done that or doing it.
I love this. And so the initial rudeness of that question from the nurse, but then you somewhere in there, you allowed yourself to see it inside. And then that opened up like another set of questions to where it started unlocking like, oh, wow, this is could this be possible? And before we dive into, I find that when I've asked people to, let's call it dream, what do you want your life to be like? So many people stop themselves even having the willingness to visualize.
Yes.
Because they've already set up all of the reasons why they couldn't have it anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah.
What do you say to people like that? And people listening right now going, oh, great. We got someone talking about visualization to change my life, right?
Yeah.
And because personally, I'm all in. Like I love this space, and I think there's a superpower within us that you have tapped into, and I believe. But there is a neutering that happens with people when they're unwilling just to. All we're asking is let yourself open and dream. And what is that? What do you believe that is?
Yeah, I think I do think life happens twice. It happens once here and then once in reality. And I don't mean it in a, like a woo-woo, okay, I can manifest anything. I mean it in the way that you are constantly imagining things, constantly. Yeah. Like that is how your brain processes. It's images, it's words, it's narratives, it's stories. But the problem is so many of us are repeating images and narratives that are like worst case scenarios, things going wrong, us failing or us repeating, if something happened last time or our last relationship, that is what we repeat. Now, the brain is interesting because the brain believes what you repeat, not what is true. And that's where it gets interesting because if you see your reality right now, you are going to basically absorb that and think, okay, this is my reality, therefore it is fixed. Right. But that's where the imagination is cool because even if your reality isn't something you want it to be, let's say you're in a job you don't like, you're not performing as well as you want to, you've never been on a podcast, cool. Use your imagination to show yourself what it could be like. You on a podcast, you performing better, you in a job you actually like. That gives you the space and the picture to say, hey, this is possible. Now, if you repeat that again and again, your brain starts to think, well, actually, this can be my story. And so the imagination is, I think, one of the most powerful parts of humans because it's what differentiates us from animals as well. We get to think, we get to create images, we get to create environments from the past, the future, the present. And I think whether you are spiritual, you could talk for days about how your imagination has a frequency and that affects life. But whether you are very scientific, the images you're repeating literally rewire the brain. So it's up to you, the language you want to use. But ultimately, the fact is you are visualizing already right now. You're an expert at it.
Right.
The question is the stories and images creating a reality you don't want? Or can you now manufacture your imagination, engineer it to create something you do want?
And that's where it gets, there's a lot of mechanisms of the repeating, whether it's for us or against us,
Yes.
right? There is these mechanisms that keep us in this victim state, validates us for whatever maybe hurts or traumas or stories. And it just cycles, even a revenge cycle, even a judgment cycle, even all of that stuff. And it just keeps us in that thing. And then so from people going, yeah, I can understand this. How do I shift from my addictive, this is what my life is? How do I kind of stop that? Is it as easy as practicing, at least starting with a new idea, even if you don't believe it? Like what's your shift?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question, because I think as well, the first thing I'll say is a lot of people want just like a pill they can take, and then it's like, cool, I'm all good, Yeah. I'll be the first to say the mind works very similar to like the body. Mm-hmm. You don't get your abs overnight. You don't get a strong body overnight. Same with the mind. Yeah. I think the best way to think about it is if your brain had all these like roads in it, and these are the roads that you drive on every day. So think about it. You've driven on this particular highway or freeway every single day. Cool. Pretty permanent. You know it very well. That's like a pattern in your brain. Yeah. Might be the way you self-sabotage. Might be the way you doubt yourself. Now we're asking you, okay, let's start using visualization or self-talk to now start building a new road, a new belief. You'll start building some bricks, okay, but nothing's going to change. Right. You've just built a few bricks. This is still the most familiar road for your mind. And the mind always takes the easiest route. Mm-hmm. So it's going to go for that one. However, if you keep repeating, so you keep practicing. So take, for example, the phone call I had with my parents, right, today. Now, next time, if I keep having those phone calls where I now see myself actually just responding, even if I pre-visualize that, cool, I am going to continue to start building the roads again and again. They become more solid. I start driving along them. And the key part here is because the brain doesn't know the difference between you actually doing something and you imagining it, you can build these roads easier than you think. Mm-hmm. And so then after you've built this road and this becomes your prominent one, the other one starts to die down. Mm-hmm. And that is literally how you rewire the brain. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to what are those first steps, one, it's awareness. You've got to ask yourself, what are some of the patterns or, tendencies or beliefs that limit me? Don't go for loads of them, just go for one. Practice it with one thing. Mm-hmm. Then the second question is, which a lot of people miss out, do you actually want to change this? Because we're pretty addicted to these patterns. We like them. They're safe, they're familiar. Yeah. And when something's unfamiliar, it feels really scary. Mm-hmm. So actually make the decision, no, I do want to change this. Mm-hmm. I do want to overcome that fear. Then it comes to, okay, now we need to do a frequent practice that is going to start building a new road. Whether that's visualization, whether you are doing some self-talk, whether that is journaling, I don't mind. But really the key is now's when you actually, take down those old roads and you build better ones. But it all starts with awareness. Mm-hmm. Ask yourself, what is something in my life, a tendency, a characteristic that's limiting me? And then you can take the steps to actually change it.
And you can apply this to anything, almost like a goal that you want, and like, okay, what's not allowing me to get there? And you can start asking questions and start unpacking that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, when I speak to people, so many different things can stop people. In fact, one woman the other day told me, I've never allowed myself to think so big because, well, what if it all goes wrong? Right. That's one of the biggest things. What if it all goes wrong? What if I fail? Yeah, but what if you succeed? Right. What if it goes better than you thought, right? It's just a simple shift. Some people also with their goals, it's like, well, I can't do it, or it's too hard, or they feel like they have to sacrifice something for it. So there are so many different beliefs that come in, especially I'm not good enough, not loved enough. These really come into play. But ultimately, those beliefs may not be your fault, but they're definitely your responsibility.
Right. Yeah, that comes in kind of the one of the things that can happen is we this life is full of crazy things. It's trauma. There's all kinds of stuff, and what's the, there's all kinds of traumatic things that can happen. And for me, I'm not going to get into the whole part of it, but I had some recent just debilitating back pain, just wiped my ass out and was like level 9 pain, sweating, and just like 2 months on my back. And I went in because I'm like, I'm tapped. There's nothing out here that's working. I can't get out of pain. So I started going in kind of full surrender mode. What am I feeling? I'm feeling weak. I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling scared. Because, different, but similar. It wasn't going away. And it's a 30-year back injury from American football. And so none of my stuff was working. So I was just like, holy shit, this is not. And then listening to you, like, that's gnarly. When something is just Groundhog Day every day, all the time, it brings you to a level on your knees that I don't know there's anything more, right? So the level of pain. And so, quick story, when I ventured back, the feelings brought me all the way back, premature, born early, gnarly trauma coming out of the womb, 50-50 chance of surviving, shoved into a incubator, no contact from my mom, 0. Like, and there was a point where they're like, oh, he's now 3.5 pounds, he might die. And so all of a sudden I'm in this back pain, and I'm like in that moment completely, holy shit, this is imprint. This is imprinting.
Wow.
It's informing, but also I've learned a lot of strategy to get strong and move around all of that shit and get accomplishments in certain ways. So I'm personally curious because we all have trauma, and that can feel there's a victim switch that can easily turn. Well, I can't do it because of blah, 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 right? I can't visualize because look at me. So when you're dreaming of a new possibility and you're visualizing, and then you're confronted with something intense, like there's all kinds of traumas in the world, right? What do you believe is good or nurturing in that space to help nurture the dream, acknowledge the trauma, not be a victim anymore to it, because now all of a sudden it's conscious? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
it's a doozy, but
it's a great question, because ultimately, trauma is a word I think a lot of people are afraid of, but anything can be traumatic. And even just, someone saying you can't play with me on the playground, that in itself, your body will hold for years and years.
Sure.
And then you suffer with rejection and things like that. So it's something to just realize that, there are going to be situations and experiences that happen to you that your body probably still holds. And if we don't learn to regulate it and release it, then actually, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's in our career, it will come up somehow. Right. For me, it was through inflammation, because I didn't listen to my body, no matter how many times it told me. So whether it's also disease, injury, whatever it might be. I think when it comes to this direct relationship with the goal, there's an amazing story that has always really stuck with me, where it's a story about God or, the universe or the world. And then this man who says to God, well, I really want this thing. This is my goal. And God is like, okay, you need to push this stone to get it. He's like, okay. So the man goes, he's pushing the stone. It's big. It's like a big, big boulder. And he's pushing and pushing. Doesn't move. So he's like, okay. Keeps going and going. Nothing happens. He goes back to God and he's like, what? You told me if I pushed this stone, I would get my goal. I get what I wanted. He was like, come on, keep going. You've got more in you. So he goes more and more, and it's like days, weeks, months past now. Now he's angry. Now he's like, right, God has lied to me. Goes back and he's like, you know what? This is a scam. You've told me I'm going to get what I wanted. And God looks at him and is like, it's not really about the goal, because look at who you've become. You've shown yourself, you've become more resilient. You've got stronger, literally, physically, mentally. it's not about moving the stone. Let me do that. It's about who you've become on the way. And this always has stuck with me because we are in a world where we are obsessed with reaching these specific goals. And when people visualize, you know, that exact goal, I always say to them, you may not get it. It's not like I'm saying this is a magic tool that's suddenly going to mean that will look exactly like it is. No. Will it give you a better chance of achieving that? For sure. Will it make you a more bolder, braver, confident person that believes in themselves? Absolutely. And that is priceless. So I always remind people that it's really not about just that end bit. It's about who you become on the way. And if you look at athletes that focus on just the winning or losing tend to not play as well because they're so focused on the outcome that they forget the really high performance is in the present moment. It's in the process. It's in the growth. It's in who you are. And so it comes back to, again, like we all hold that traumas, those limitations, those beliefs that can stop us. But if you can, in that journey, start overcoming them and realizing that if you wash away all those things underneath, you are absolutely someone capable of anything. That is the real, I think, point of life's journey, that bit.
Well, it's interesting too, as I'm hearing you, all of the trauma did a lot of great shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It carved a lot of stuff that without it, I wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time, like needing to carry it forward, like your phone call, like, oh, I can have an outcome that's different. So I can step into it. I don't need to carry on trauma in order to kind of go. I feel like I'm in a next chapter of my life, and now all of this stuff is kind of like, wow, it's coming up, and it's like, wow, it's not comfortable sometimes. And that's kind of this weird thing with life. Like life's not comfortable.
No.
But we might as well give it a go. Right? And so kind of going, I'd love to pick apart some of these and illuminate some of these techniques that you have so that we can, because I'm sensing you have a different view of some of what visualization is, what the techniques, and there's a couple in here that I'm really keen to understand because I'll let you reveal that, because the negative side of or the revelation of, hey, see however you describe it, but what could not work, or you know what I mean? So like prepare almost for that as well. So anyway, what's these 5 techniques, and why do you believe that they are different or more powerful or more effective?
Yeah. So these aren't my techniques, firstly. I, through my research, realized that visualization has been out there for centuries, right? Yeah. Stoicism, Walt Disney, Einstein, but then also, you know, the latest sports psychology as well. So really what the book does and what I do in my work is bring together the 5 techniques that really give you a great toolbox for your mental fitness. So one, we have outcome visualization, which is where you are seeing the result in advance. Like for your goals, let's say an athlete who sees themselves with a trophy, they show themselves, okay, I can do this. I can be a winner. Then we have process visualization. This is where you use mental imagery to make a skill, a technique, a task better, faster, more effective. Huge in sports because you could mentally rehearse, let's say, a golf swing like 20, 30 times in the mind and get it really effortless and perfect so that when you're there, it's muscle memory. Because remember, the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. I use this for public speaking. I use it for sports, but you can also use it for just processing your day as well.
So when you go, so just illuminating that technique a little bit.
Yeah.
So like, let's say you have a meeting, so it's close your eyes, 5 minutes, just go in there, feel the energy of it all, see the experience, the emotion, the connection that you want to have happen.
Yeah, take today, right? I have never met you in my life. I'm literally in a new country. And it's like, I could have walked in here quite nervous and just been like, oh, hey, like, you know, we don't really chat. It's nerve-wracking, of course. But in the car, I took just a few moments to close my eyes and think, right, Maya, how are you going to walk in? What's the energy you want to bring? Just to start priming my brain and body to be like, yeah, it's going to be unfamiliar. You don't even know what the room looks like, all these things. But because I did that there, when I'm here, it's like, oh, I remember my brain's been here before.
Right.
So it can just be in a bit more flow or, less nervous. And that goes if I'm, talking in front of thousands of people. I will do that visualization maybe 5, 6, 7 times so that when I'm on stage, my brain and body think we've done this 7 times.
Right.
So it's muscle memory.
So there's a comfort to that because you're stepping into something that's actually not new then.
Exactly that. And that's why athletes really rely on it, because when you are trying to perform the best you can, you don't want to be thinking. You want to be able to trust. You want to be able to trust your training. And that's why process visualization is incredible. It's so, so good for that. Then we have creative. So interesting when you talk about pain. Creative visualization is great for managing emotions, pain, disease, injury. So I used creative visualization for when my colon was in pain. I always used to describe it like, I used to say like, it's like razor blades, just like, cutting me and like fish, like biting me. So then, exactly. So I then closed my eyes and I used to literally visualize that scenario. I used to visualize these piranhas like biting me and, it'd be painful. But then what would I do? In the visualization, I would shoot all the fish. Yeah. So I literally, exactly. No, I know, but think about it. The brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined. So I started to influence my pain. It's not that it just went away, but with time I realized, oh, wait a second, I have control over this. So if I was just saying, Maya, you just try and like stop the pain or try and think about something else. No.
Hold on. Ding.
No, exactly that. And then eventually I was able to work with my cells, work with my body. Even like a really simple example, if you just close your eyes for me now and just imagine that you are at home in your kitchen. So just see the furniture, the colors, and now go to the fridge, open the fridge, and there's half a lemon on the shelf. And you just hold it in your hand, a bit cold, tough skin. You can see that it's yellow, bright. And just start smelling it. It's fragrant, juicy. And I take the lemon and drop by drop, I want you to squeeze it into your mouth. And it lands on your tongue and it's like so sour. In fact, it just like the ripples in your mouth, like the cheeks go a bit weird and tingly. Your saliva starts to really increase. Now keep squeezing that lemon. Taste the juice of it. It's so tangy, so citrusy. Maybe a pip comes in. It's a bit bitter. Good. Really taste it. Okay, and open the eyes. Right. Were you able to,
Yeah.
right?
Things start happening.
Okay, but you're not actually
Right.
eating a lemon.
Right.
So you can see that, just in 20 seconds, your brain and body both react. So creative visualization is a brilliant way to really connect the mind and body. Now I don't use it for pain, but I'll use it for like managing emotions and things like that. Then we have negative visualization, which is where you see worst case scenarios. Either you see yourself overcoming it, but some people are also really motivated by the fear of that worst case scenario. So depending on how your brain is wired, I would guide you through a particular one. Michael Phelps very famously, saw a lot of things going wrong in his race. And his coach would be like to him, now in your visualization, what do you do? So then when it happens, and it did in Beijing, his goggles filled up with water. And not only did he win the race, he got the world record. And in the interview, they were like, what? And he was like, I have been in that situation so many times in my mind, so I didn't even flinch. I knew I had to swim 75% of that race completely blind. I knew that. Whereas most people, they'd be like, should I take them off? Like, they'd panic a bit. Yeah. He didn't do that because he knew he's been in that negative scenario before. So that's fascinating there. In Stoicism, they used negative visualization to, basically, it's quite intense, but you imagine you lose everything. You lose it all. Family, money, friends, everything. and you realize like what life would be like. And then when you open your eyes, the amount of appreciation it gives you, life-changing. And then we have explorative visualization. It's the most undocumented and unknown. It's what the likes of Walt Disney, Einstein, Nikola Tesla used. Disney called it imagineering. So engineering your imagination, where you tap into a part of your creativity that can help you problem solve or create new ideas in a very different way. So a good example is Einstein. If he was making a decision, he wouldn't just make a decision. He would visualize like he'd be on a train and there are two tracks in front of him. One track goes down this way, the other is this way, but he would make that decision then. If I went down this track, what would happen? And then by doing that, when he wakes up, he's like, okay, this is now the decision I'm going to make.
So like a two decisions and they're represented in the train track.
Exactly.
And then he could play that out.
Yeah. And that's called like metaphorical visualization. So, but these are all found in their like diaries and their, their quotes that are years and years back. So when I was doing my research, that's when I realized, I was like, wow, they're basically doing the same thing, different words and different application. And so now when you look at those 5 techniques, you can use them for so many different things. Decision-making,
Endless.
sharpness, techniques, public speaking, sports performance, goal setting, habits, all of it. And that's why I love the technique. It's super versatile.
And the more you do it, the quicker, like you said, like I'm just in the car. I'm like, I'm going to a place I haven't been, to a person I haven't met. Just go in, feel it out. I used to do this. I don't know how I stumbled on it, but I used to do this when I'd go into meetings. And actually, I don't know if I ever told him that. So there's a reverend, spiritual reverend, Dr. Michael Beckwith. I don't know
Yeah, I know him.
So I never met him.
Okay.
But I was doing a documentary in Bhutan, and this is like in 2007. And this, you know where Bhutan is?
Yeah.
It's a tiny little country smashed between China and India and surrounded by the Himalayas, and beautiful. And so we got wind that he wanted to get into film and stuff. So he took a meeting. So I just sat in the parking lot and visualized us already connecting. No shit. I walk into the room. He grabs my hand. He goes, I know you.
No.
We never had met.
Oh, wow.
And so that kind of thing, another one that's just when you're saying golfing. So I don't golf. Like I used to when I was kind of a kid in high school, and I love it, but now I got way too much shit to do. So I don't golf. But I was in between a trip to either South America or Southeast Asia with a business partner, and we were taking a layover in Central America. And we were at this hotel who happened to have a golf course, and he liked to golf. And I was like, I haven't fucking swung a club in 20 years. So literally in that morning, just for the hell of it, I just closed my eyes and felt myself hit the golf club. I shot under par.
Oh, I love it.
It was unconscious.
Yeah.
It was to the point where I was witnessing laughing.
Yeah.
Just hitting this thing, and I just got a birdie. That's not, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I still forget.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off the fact that I haven't been using it enough just talking to you. You know
I do. And I think that's the crux of it, right? Is that a lot of people, we can see it as this magical tool that it's we visualize this thing and then it happened. But when we start to see it as part of, everyday mental training, it becomes a non-negotiable.
Right.
And that's where you really get the benefit from it. Because in a similar way, so take these pool workouts, right? When I heard about them, I was like, oh my gosh, no. These sound really intense. Yeah. So I kind of intentionally just looked on YouTube. I was like, right, where am I going to be? What is the kind of vibe? And then I took a few moments to be like, Maya, just actually visualize yourself underwater, holding your breath. And I held my breath in the in my own visualization,
right.
But I was just in bed.
Right.
And all it does, it means that when I'm there, I can actually show up as a braver version of myself, thinking, oh, hey, I've done this.
Right.
And that's why, F1 drivers, they'll close their eyes, they'll hold the steering wheel, and they will actually rehearse the track before they've even done it.
Right.
And so it can feel like magic, but all you are doing is you are priming your brain to essentially open up your muscle memory. And what's really fascinating here is there's another part of the neuroscience with visualization that I think is kind of scary, which is the mirror neurons.
Yes.
And that is the things we are observing or watching or listening to. Your mirror neurons are activating as well. So that's why, like, if I was actually eating a lemon now and I was like, you'd probably still react thinking, oh my God, yeah? Because your brain is like, oh wow, I'm also doing this. But now think about the sort of things we watch or the programs, we see people like failing or crying or bad relationships, then we are literally observing this, which is why the people you hang around, all the things you are inputting in your brain, rewire it the whole time. And there's a great story of a basketball coach. I think his name's Andy P. I can't remember the surname. And he spoke about how his team had always wanted to go to the Worlds and they had a chance, but they'd never been. So a lot of them were like, oh yeah, but I just, don't know what's going to be like. And yeah, but we've never played on those big stages. And so what he did is in their dressing room or changing room, he just put a TV there. And on repeat, he played videos of teams at the Worlds, just playing. It wasn't their team, just random teams. And very subconsciously, these people would come in there and just be watching it. And it's very clever because what they're doing is they are now saying, hey, this could be me.
Right.
And because they play baseball, they're like, actually, yeah, I would do it like this, whatever. So very subtly, this coach was so clever to put it in there so that he was priming the team to be like, this is possible for you. See yourself there. That's why I tell athletes to watch people better than you. Watch your best performances back. Because you can keep then training yourself to be at that level.
Yeah. So it's so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh, there's so much we can preempt and for you and what you've discovered, what's the difference? Because obviously manifestation can start getting into a bunch of stuff where some left brain person's not going to go there or not going to understand or not wanting to do or whatever. It can get weird. And listen, I've been involved in a lot of stuff over the years. I have ceremonies and gurus and all, you name it. I'm game. But at the same time, this is very, very practical. So when people start creating, I kind of know the answer by what you even said because you got so many different layers to this. But what's the difference between manifesting your dreams, what you see when social media has some dude for 10 seconds talking about manifestation and what you're talking about with visualization with an S?
Yeah, it was meant to be.
The UK
the other day I said it's meant to be with a Z, and they were like, what does Z mean?
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? They were like, Z. And I was like, no, as in what?
Right.
Yeah, anyway.
It throws the Americans
Yeah,
off.
I was like, so I get this question a lot, and I appreciate it because I am a huge believer in manifestation, which is why I'm very confident in saying that they are very different.
Yeah.
So manifestation to me is this broad idea that we can create our own reality. If you can think something, you can create it. Not through magic, but just through the possibility, and therefore you then do the hard work, right? However, would we ever say someone like Michael Phelps manifested 23 golden medals? Would we ever say that?
Right.
No. But he visualized all the time. So where's the difference? One, the only place where I really think it overlaps is the outcome visualization piece. Because yes, I'm asking you to see the result in advance. And a lot of people in their manifestation practices will use visualization. Now, it's not because when you visualize it, it definitely happens. No, sometimes there are those coincidences, which is why then people say, I manifested this partner into my life. But really what's happening is you are wiring your brain to see new opportunities. You are wiring your brain to focus on success or specific people or whatever it might be. And that's really where I see the overlap. When you look at process, creative, negative, explorative, none of that is about manifestation. In fact, negative visualization is a manifestor's worst nightmare.
Right.
Because I'm asking you to actually rehearse
Right.
everything going wrong.
Right.
So that's one aspect, the actual theory. The other reason I think it's really important is because how you frame a technique will change how you use it. And I think manifestation is this quite trendy topic of like, the beginning of the year or only when you want it. That's when you bring in manifestation, right?
Right.
But really, something like visualization, I frame it as a mental fitness tool because your mind is, half your health, if not the most important part of us, right? As soon as we wake up, your thoughts dominate everything, your emotions, your habits. And so if we can start seeing this as a tool to integrate into our everyday life, just 5 minutes, that's all I ask, you are going to get so much stronger, so much more resilient, so much more braver, more confident. And who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
And so I think it really is about seeing this as a tool, a psychological and neurological brain training tool versus I think manifestation is like a philosophy. It's a concept. It's a broad idea that we can create things into our own life.
Yeah, and it gets into, which I don't know if we know, but the plasma of reality, the magnetic fields. Like, I think clearly we're magnetic frequency generators. Tesla was clear on that, right? And there is a lot of that going on,
Yeah.
It's something's opening up the field.
For sure.
That for sure it has to start here to open up that other possibility, or else nothing.
Outcome visualization, yes. Right. Process, none of that. That is simply science.
Right.
But outcome visualization is interesting because when I was doing my research for the book, so Neville Goddard, I think, is one of my most favorite writers on this. And I mean, he was way beyond where any of us are right now. But the way he spoke about visualization was very much about that. It was about the field. And even Joe Dispenza brings this up. But again, this is outcome.
Right.
Process is really just muscle memory and pure neuroscience. Creative is actually using the placebo effect.
Right.
That's what we're doing there. We're using imagery to work on your body and your pain and your emotions. Negative, again, is a performance tool, but also you are using perspective changes and time changes to help you. And then explorative it's actually more about a creative process. Yeah. So again, we're not manifesting anything. There's no outcome. Yeah. We're simply problem solving or creating.
This is a weird insight that I just got as you said. Like,
hit me.
It's like, here's an example of it going wrong.
Yeah.
Someone wants a manifestation, right? And they win the lottery.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So they got the dream reality. So, but they have no physiological or brain mapped understanding of that situation.
Right.
And it absolutely collapses on itself, full stop, all the time.
Right.
Right? They don't have the network set up to understand, all of your family members now want handouts, the visualization of what could go wrong. They have no space to understand that. So it's like, if you really wanted the manifestation, do you really want it without the other parts of the visualization and the mental muscle?
Yeah.
That's the truth. And I think you putting that together in what we're talking about is so key, because I've never heard anyone put it together in this way.
Yeah, and I think a really good analogy is visualization can be a really great tool to like see the end of a movie, but you've still got to write the script.
Totally.
The end of the movie is going to be really motivating. It's going to give you direction. Right. But at the end of the day, you now need to write and create the script. And that's not to say you can't be and own that. But the point is just because you see the end of the movie doesn't mean you can now just chill and the script's just going to do itself.
Well, I made my vision board, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to sit back and
and
there's that action and that work and that muscle memory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. And that's why doing just outcome visualization is not enough.
Right.
It's actually the process visualization that's really going to help you in your everyday actions. And then, of course, shit happens in life. So you're going to feel anger. You're going to have heartbreak. And that's where things like creative is going to happen or negative. Like a really good example of negative, actually, that I thought was pretty fun was, so I had this client who's like an exec in a tech company, really high performing. But he had this one vice, which was smoking. And he was like, Maya, I've tried to stop this for so long. I was like, okay. So I have worked with a lot of people on their habits. And one of the first things we do is, well, let's imagine what life is like without you smoking. You know, be inspired by this type of person you can be. And he felt so good. And he was like, this is who I want to be. 2 weeks later, smokes again. I was like, okay, that didn't work then. So then I was like, why don't we try negative visualization? And I guided him through this process where I asked him, 3 years' time, you smoke a pack a day. Oof. And I want you, so I gave him the worst case scenario. Yeah. And I really want you to just describe to me, what does your life look like? And, you know, it was the hospital visits. His kids didn't talk to him at this point. And like his fingernails were yellow. It was really intense. And he was like crying.
So you just let him visualize, and that came to him.
So I give him prompts, right. But I like it when they get to create it for themselves as well.
He instigated that negative side.
And I'd say like, oh, so, you know, how's your health right now? He's like, oh no, yeah, like I ended up here, whatever. Right. He has not picked up a cigarette for 2.5 years because that one scenario created this like rude awakening to be like, I do not want this in my life. Right. And I could get it. I literally could get it. Mm-hmm. And I think that was also a moment for me to realize we are really motivated by fear as well. Sure. And that's okay to a certain point. Right. Now, as he has not touched a cigarette for a long time, then it was about now thinking, okay, how can you now go further and visualize the person you want to be? Mm-hmm. And so you can really see how you can be agile with these, with the right direction. Mm-hmm. And just change how you think, feel, and perform. Because
too much of the negative can lead to rumination.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Yeah, that would be, you don't want to do that regularly. Right. Negative visualization, I would do for every one negative visualization you do, maybe do 10 of the other ones. Right, because you want to practice that side. Because the amygdala and all of these fear responses and all of this stuff is kind of hardwired. What's going to happen? And so you have to, we're already geared for that shit. Exactly, you're doing it now. You're doing it literally now. Like, you know, our brains are wired to keep us safe. Yeah. So it's doing its job. Mm-hmm. The thing is that negative wiring is not going to help you achieve your goals or help you win a championship or just be a better mother. And that's really where you've got to think, right, how can I now direct my imagination in a way that's going to serve me? What's your best outcome for yourself personally of visualization that kind of has blown you away? No one's ever asked me that. That's amazing. I have so many, to be fair. Obviously, I would imagine. Yeah. So I do 14 visualizations a day. It takes an hour. Oh, wow. Yeah. But so you just go specifically as if it's happening and you go down the list. Yeah. And I've stacked it now. Yeah. Over like now 8 years. A bit like how someone can lift heavier weights. That's kind of where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I think obviously the most meaningful for me is being able to see that image of me healthy again. I think I will never, because I didn't know what it would feel like to not be in pain or to walk again. That was really big for me. But one of my favorite ones, I don't know, it's on my, actually, let me show you. Okay. You see that? Uh-huh. It's the background of my phone. Okay. Right. I created this on AI about 2 years ago because I was like, I was basically creating a character for myself and I wanted to see who she was. And every day I would visualize her and she is like half your avatar. Yeah, she's like half monk, half beast. She's like epic on stage, but she's very peaceful. Right. And I would always visualize, right, how does she walk into a room? How does she interact with people? What does she feel like? And I was in Amsterdam maybe like 2 weeks ago and I was on stage and I was in this blue suit and I was like, shit.
That's the blue suit. You want to
It's,
show people on the camera?
yeah. I was like, this is, and I'll show you the exact moment because I took a photo of this exact situation. Now, is it magic? No way.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I was wiring myself to be more, look at this.
Come on.
Yeah. I don't know where the
That
camera
is wild.
Yeah. And it was just like, you know, you have every
That's so cool.
moment to start creating who you want to be. So when I say outcome visualization, it's not just about goals as in things.
Yeah.
It's also about your character, who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people are like to me, Maya, I want to be more confident. I want to be more brave. And I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Right.
How do you walk into a room? What's your body posture like?
Mm-hmm.
If you can start training your brain to, you know, as soon as you wake up, this is how I'm going to live out my day, you will start training it and then you trust it. It's not fake it till you make it. It's train it till you trust it.
Wow.
That's key.
Dink.
Yeah.
That's a
And it's over.
that's a big one.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because that's what the brain is. It's constantly about training.
Right. And like you said before, it's already doing it now.
Mm.
So you might as well step in
Yeah.
and like reorient it towards the path that you really want.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I think we can all agree when you grow up, people will give you the labels. They'll say, oh, you're the funny one. Or,
Right.
oh, no, like you'll never be able to do that. You're just not the type of person. A lot of people say, oh, I'm just made that way.
Right.
It's just the way I am.
Right.
But it's like, no, it's not. You can change anything.
Right.
You can, like, I'm unrecognizable from 2 years ago. Not in a bad way, in a way that it's like I've invested in my character. And again, these things are priceless because who you are and how you feel about yourself and the self-image you create is everything, because you will never, ever, ever outperform your self-image. Sometimes you will, but then you'll always self-sabotage again to go back to your self-image.
Baseline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for so many of us, our self-image is made from social media, from what our parents told us, from us trying to fit in, to be popular or to be, you know, wanted or belonged. But then if you ask yourself, but who do I actually want to be? What is my self-image? How can I take more ownership over it? It's amazing what life can be like.
Yeah, it goes from it's programmed and you're just doing this, and then the sentences come out where this is who I am, this is what I am, this is what I do. It's just what we do. Like,
Yeah.
and you're just further solidifying that status.
Yeah. It's back in the victim, right? It's just
Yeah.
like life's happening to me. Just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
You can and feel free to, but
Yeah. There's other choices.
Yeah,
There's like
exactly.
a whole menu here.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Have fun.
Yeah. And so out of curiosity, after you started visualizing, feeling better, and then, you know, shooting the piranhas,
Yeah.
how did you heal yourself? So that started it, obviously.
Yeah, I think, so I obviously did a massive combination of things, and I had really exhausted every medical option there was. Some illegal things, some legal, you know, I tried everything. I guess what it really came down to is I went back to what does it mean to be human? And ultimately,
It's a good question.
you know, it's the basics. Basics. What food am I eating? And I was put on so many diets: carnivore, low fiber, celery juice, sunflower and spinach seeds. It was the weirdest things, right? And then I was like, let's just have whole foods, foods that grow. And I really stuck to fruits and vegetables, and that's what I still have, like steamed, no fries. I think just like really steamed. But then I also realized that my environment's a big thing. The people I'm around, the stresses, the toxicity. And, you know, I'm an attached person. Not anymore, which is great. But I used to feel things so deeply, and like I'd hold grudges, and playing badminton very competitively, I would hate losing. And so much resentment built up in my stomach.
Probably a lot of empathy and just this is who I am, and I receive all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, like a sponge. So I had to be really selfish. I had to have amazing boundaries. Also really working on my self-talk and belief, but really the crux of it all was definitely the mindset, because there were so many situations where I should have and could have, and I still don't get why I didn't give up. You know, like I was there telling myself, you're going to get healthy, you're going to get healthy. And my bloods are like, you are so unhealthy, you are so unhealthy, right? All my inflammation
So in
markers.
the face of what you're visualizing, the reality hadn't caught up yet.
And you'll have moments like that, especially
Sure.
if you're using it for quite like, you know, big things. But I had a choice. Like, am I going to believe these statistics? Maybe I should. Every doctor was telling me I should. Or am I going to listen to my body? And my body was telling me that like, I'm just a bit misguided. Like I'm in pain. And the pain was telling me to like listen. But when you're on medication, I couldn't hear it.
Oof.
I really couldn't hear the pain.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So then I had to kind of let myself feel it, which was very scary,
Right.
come off a lot of these steroids and be like, right, let's try it. And, you know, I am.
Which is by itself gnarly.
Yeah.
Because our healthcare system is masking a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And largely the tuning fork of us, like you just described. So then I want to be out of pain, medication, but then going, wait a second, I can't hear. So then to be in a little more pain potentially so that you can listen, that's a warrior shit right there.
And but it was the piranha thing. It made me realize I can say to it, bring it on. It gave me just a little bit of, I guess, exactly. No, you love that. You're like, you know. But I think it is that because it really was a matter of trusting myself. But I also wasn't delusional. Like I did say, you know, if I try this and it doesn't work within like 3-6 months, then Maya, go and get the surgery because you're just playing with fire now. And it's true.
And that surgery is a big deal.
Huge, especially at the age of 17.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a life change. And I think what I will always say is I never claim that, right, this particular thing healed me because I understand that there are people suffering out there who are desperate for cures. And we hear words like incurable, healed, and it's like, that's all you want. But all I will say is that there is an indirect correlation between me having a very strong mind, a positive mind, a hopeful mind, and me getting better. But there is an absolutely direct correlation between me having a negative mindset, feeling like a victim, feeling like I had no hope, and me staying ill.
Oof.
That I am absolutely certain of.
Right.
So for me, I was like, well, I might as well give myself the best chance. And I allowed myself to see me studying at uni and playing badminton again in the university kit. I allowed myself to do it because it's the thing that kept me going. It was like my North Star. And of course, I was putting in the reps every single day, step by step, tiny action by action. I went to every like Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins seminar, but I couldn't go in person, right? I'd be like bedridden, just listening, trying to just, can I understand anything? And I think this comes back to your first point you brought up today, which is that you can listen to every podcast. You can go to every teacher. You can read every book. But if you do not do it, nothing changes.
That's it.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth of it.
There is no shortcut in
No.
that way.
No.
There's no
and
biohack. There's no.
No, you got to take the stairs. You can't take this elevator. And but we live in a world where we're starting to see these elevators.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, but take this, do this one like mushroom trip and all your anxiety will be gone.
Ayahuasca, mushroom, blah, it's going to give you the answers.
And I think it can sometimes, but if you want sustainable change where you are in full ownership and you have a really close relationship with the mind and body, you have to do the hard, inner, deep work.
Yeah. You know,
That's
just speaking on the plant medicine stuff, because I did ayahuasca 25 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
And it showed me, revealed some stuff, and then it was difficult. Let's just leave it at that. But so I revered it then, and I revere it now, but I never had explored it again. And what I've seen is multiple, all of this stuff people doing over and over and over again. And the truth of the medicine, I humbly believe, is the outro, what you're doing after, how you're implementing, because the reveal, it's a reveal for sure. And there could be and can be some healing within it.
Yeah.
But it's a reveal. It's a master reveal, right? Whatever that is deep inside your psyche or person or whatever, and then not doing the work and then just doing it again without implementing, without doing the steps. And that's, again, the difference between manifesting a lottery and letting your life fall apart, or this application of integration of action and understanding this whole system. But it requires the work.
And I think one thing I will say, I can imagine a lot of people listen to health, wellness, personal development content, and it just feels really overwhelming to think, where do I even begin? Or I don't have time to do all these things. I can't wake up at 5, jump in an ice bath, meditate for 2 hours, then visualize, then have all my smoothies, right? What I would say is strip it back completely. And I do not mind if you don't start with visualization. I'd be such a bad expert if I was saying this is the only route forward. No.
Right.
The point is, start with something so small. Become the type of person that can commit to just one practice for at least 30 days, even if it's a few minutes and you're just taking a few deep breaths. But we overcomplicate it. We make it so extreme. And that's why you see people will spend like all their year being really stressed, unhappy. Then they go on this one retreat and they're like, I'm solved.
Totally.
But then you're back in the same life and you repeat the same mistakes. And so it really comes down to, what is the tiniest thing I can do day to day that will bring me and yield me the most impact? Yeah. If you can start with that question, you'll realize it's so small. It's so small. Yeah. It might just be having a healthier breakfast. It might be saying one thing you're grateful for before you go to bed. Start really small, keep with that for a month, and then you can add on to it.
Yeah. Small things added up over time is life.
Yeah, exactly. They're just little moments, but you get to choose the moments.
But I love the whole idea of muscle. I love the mental muscle thing, because if you allow yourself to do it, even the car ride over, it's now you realize, oh, it's a tool I can easily grab. I'm there to use it at any and all time. And it is for sure probably the most powerful. Yeah.
And like, even just as you said that today, I just clocked again that in the pool, I'd done these 20 reps. And then he was like to me, Maya, why don't you do 30? And my brain is like, Maya, you can't do 30.
Right.
But I quickly, with my eyes opened, I just saw myself pushing the 20 mark, feeling really uncomfortable, but getting to 30. Just took me like 10 seconds. I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Right. I did 31, okay? Wow. I did 31. And it's cool because your brain will give you every story and every reason to protect you.
Right.
Like, don't do it. It's dangerous. Whether you are, you know, when we feel like an imposter, it's like, don't do it. You don't deserve to be here. You don't deserve this success. Your brain is doing a really good job. It is healthy and it's doing what it's meant to do.
Sure.
But you have to be the one to show it. But look what else is possible.
Yeah.
Or I do deserve to be here. And that really is where you now master the mind. And I always say, your mind is like a puppy. If you don't train it, it's going to shit everywhere. It does. It shits on your career, your relationships, your self-confidence, right? But the aim isn't to have the puppy on a lead the whole time.
Right.
The aim is, can you work with it, be in harmony with it? Love it, yes, work with it, feed it well. That's really where the joy is. You have a relationship with this puppy where you can trust it. Yeah, it's going to keep shitting otherwise. It really will. Yeah. So think of it like that. But a lot of people are just like, oh, I just can't control my mind, or I just want to get rid of these negative thoughts. That puppy will bark, it will cry, let it, but learn what are the tools to help it. Yeah. That's key.
Tools right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Maya, you're the best. This was incredible. This is like a masterclass in visualization.
Good. I'm glad.
Thanks for the work you're doing. What are you excited about now? I mean, obviously the book's coming out. And that's a big lift. That's no joke. I
Yeah.
acknowledge that, because that's like giving birth to a lot of stuff, and it's intense. And
Yeah. And the book was, the reason I wrote it is two things. I was like, this will help me get better at my craft. And I really do believe it contributes new knowledge to the space. And I think that's exciting. The thing I'm excited about is my big mission in life is to make mental fitness as common as physical fitness. So I see Soul Cycles, I see Barry's, I see Solid Core, I see gyms. Why do I not see places where you can walk in and come out more confident? Where you can go in, you can train your mind for a marathon you've got on the weekend, and you can feel ready for it. So it is a big mission, but I really want to build like the mental fitness for the high street, where you are like, this is damn cool. And I love to train my brain.
I love that.
Yeah.
Interesting question. What do you believe or feel with VR as a tool, a technique? I mean, yeah, you can go in, but also you can set it up to like see it, like literally.
Yeah, and I've seen, with stroke victims, they use VR in hospitals where it'll literally just be an image of like them walking or a foot moving. Yeah. So in those cases, I think it's brilliant. And I think it's a great activation to something. But I can't deny that we have these incredible supercomputers with us. Totally. Why do we have to rely on technology to do it? And the funniest thing I remember was in COVID, and it was in London, and there's a great big park called Regent's Park, beautiful, very green. And there's a company that did this like mindfulness training, or to help you feel calmer. And you go to Regent's Park, you put on these VR goggles, and it shows you nature.
What?
And I took a moment to be like, do you know where you're standing? You're standing in nature, and yet you are telling people to put on goggles and see nature. And that was the moment I was like, why? Why do we need technology when your brain can literally do this?
The most advanced thing on the planet.
Exactly.
Right.
The only reason VR would be good is if you have aphantasia, which means you can't see images. VR is a great way to get into it and start the practice, but really, you won't be then improving the skill of the brain and your relationship with it. And that's the difference.
And the muscle. That's a real muscle. It's
exactly.
like you like watching someone do a arm curl, and you're not doing it.
Yeah, so it's mirror neurons. That's what VR would do really well. Yeah. But ultimately, for you to really train it, and you be intentional with it, because you get to then change the images. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Like you're the one that gets to choose, actually, let me go a bit bigger. Yeah. And that's really where your power lies.
And as you get more comfortable with it, then you can push yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
Amazing. Thank you for this. And I know people are going to love this, and stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Thank you.
Thanks for amping up SuperLife today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Wow. Love this shit. Good?
Oh, sorry.